lunchtime to you all. Welcome wherever you're watching. If you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope or YouTube, thanks for watching. Get your views in, get your comments in. As ever, we can get them on screen so we can react to what you are talking about live. If you're watching this on playback, thanks for joining us. Do subscribe to all our channels. My name's Phil. This is Leicester Fan TV. We've got a couple of Watford fans. We've got a couple of Leicester fans. And we will be chatting all things Watford v Leicester. So get those views and comments in live now.
Get on your feet. Don't sleep. Play for keeps. Dig deep. Get on your feet. Don't sleep. Play for keeps. Dig deep. Got to dig deep.
Yeah, good evening. I keep it good evening. It's lunchtime. Hi to Alexander Redford. He's watching on YouTube. John Squires is watching on Facebook. Hi to you, John. What do you think about the game on Saturday, guys? Get your views in. Naren is watching on YouTube from Singapore. Good evening to you, Naren. I assume that's what it is there. Please keep getting your fans, views and comments in. Let's add in. We've got Josh, who you know better as Sports, who's part of the Leicester Fan TV. Guys, Josh, how are you?
I'm good, Phil. How are you?
I'm good. Looking forward to this weekend's match,
Indeed.
Josh.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Football's back. Hopefully we can secure a Champions League spot. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see Leicester back in action on Saturday.
Absolutely. Let's bring in, we've got James, who's from the Watford Way. James, how are you?
Very good, Phil. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for having coming on here. And we've got Jacob as well, who is from WD18, two different Watford fan groups. Great to have you both on.
How's it going, guys? You all good?
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff, yeah.
Good. Let's start. Josh, try and remind us, Leicester, we just beat Villa 4-0. It seems like an age ago, doesn't it? But we go into this in quite good spirits, although this break is going to have all sorts of effects, isn't it, Josh?
Yeah, obviously, just like you mentioned, last time out we beat Villa 4-0. Obviously, before that, I think we were on a pretty poor run of form. I think we lost to Norwich. We had a tough run of games, but I think that Villa win, we can really turn it around. And I think, like I said, we had a poor run of form. I think the break's going to do as well. So, yeah, I'm pretty confident that we can get a good result on Saturday against Watford.
Josh, how do you think the break will affect players like at Leicester? I mean, it's going to affect every team in an unknown way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's complete. It's random. Just like we've seen with the games yesterday, it's very different. Obviously, City doing well, but with Leicester, obviously, we had a few injuries going into it. I think James Maddison has a slight injury, so he's back. So I think it'd be good for the players to have a rest. Obviously, it's been a busy season with playing in the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and doing well in the Premier League. So I think the rest has done Leicester the world of good, and I think we should be back ready for action on Saturday.
Let's get the views from the Watford boys. I'll start with you, James, first of all. How do you think the break's going to affect Watford? Because your form, you were having, obviously, you're not having the best season ever, but there is signs of light with, obviously, Nigel Pearson doing quite a good job there. Obviously, big fans from Leicester of Nigel Pearson. How do you think it's going to, be affecting your guys?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I mean, obviously we had that fantastic 3-0 win against Liverpool just before the break, but we finished with a 0-0 draw against Palace, which we didn't perform very well in. So it would be interesting to see how we come back. We've got a couple of injuries. We've got Gerard Deulofeu, who's suffering an injury against Liverpool, so he's going to be out for the rest of this season, unfortunately, which is going to be a big blow for us. And Daryl Janmaat's out at right back. But apart from that, we're looking in pretty good shape.
Yeah, and let's ask Jacob as well. Jacob's from WD18.
Yeah, it is a mouthful.
It is a bit, isn't it, Jacob?
Yeah,
Well, then,
it is.
What do you think? I mean, you're obviously excited about the season restarting, Jacob.
Yeah, I'm excited about the season restarting. I have to admit, I'm quite nervous as well, just because of the predicament Watford are in at the moment, obviously near the relegation zone. But I think the overall mood with the Watford fans is that we've got faith in Nigel to get us out of this situation. We've had obviously some big results, as James mentioned, that Liverpool one just before the break. But we were on a pretty poor run of form, so it kind of came at the right time. We'd just come off the back of a 1-0 defeat to Palace. So I think the break might actually do us some good. And as James said, also, in terms of injuries, Gerard Deulofeu is going to be a massive blow for us and Daryl Janmaat. So it'll be interesting to see if we can we can cope without the loss of Delafeu. But certainly, I think there's belief there since Nigel and Craig Shakespeare, who people do forget about, who have come in and they've done really well for us. So the faith is still there from the Watford fans.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Josh, we obviously remember Nigel Pearson really fondly. He helped Leicester do probably one of the biggest escape jobs ever. We call it the greatest escape. That season where we were out and dead and buried at Christmas, we were bottom and everybody had written us off. So, Josh, Nigel Pearson and Craig Shakespeare are the guys to get Watford out of this, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, they've done it before. On Saturday, I'm expecting a difficult game. Obviously, Nigel Pearson, just like you said, obviously got Leicester to the escape. He's a very good manager, likes to build his team up defensively and goes well on the attack as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a difficult game. And I think Nigel Pearson, Craig Shakespeare are the perfect guys for Watford to help you try and get out of the Premier League. But to be honest, I'm pretty confident that Watford will manage to stay up in the end.
Yeah, James, I mean, Nigel Pearson, he's, I mean, while he was at Leicester, he was great entertainment at Leicester because there's quite a few stories while he's at Leicester, to be fair. We won't mention ostriches and all sorts. But
No.
Nigel Pearson, I think, is a perfect manager for teams like Leicester and Watford. It makes a change for you guys, in my opinion, to have a manager who actually has got something a bit more about him, because you guys have been changing managers left, right. I can't even keep up. I couldn't try and name your last 10 managers. So does it feel different now to have somebody like Nigel Pearson who's got this longer term? I think you might keep him for longer than just 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Watford, since we've been in the Premier League, we've always gone for a foreign manager, and that's kind of what our owners do. They're Italian owners. They like to go for the foreign model, kind of tiki-taka football. But we've got quite a large English core to our squad now. So we've got Troy Deeney, Will Hughes, Tom Cleverley, Ben Foster, and having an English manager, I think, really benefits them as well.
Yeah, Jacob. Nigel Pearson, you mentioned Craig Shakespeare as well there. Craig Shakespeare is a very, very important part of that. Obviously got picked. He's been a bit unlucky at times because Craig Shakespeare was assistant coach at England just for a couple of matches under Sam Allardyce. He was a bit unlucky that he got made Leicester manager, because I think he is a better coach, I think, than manager, Jacob. But he is key to you guys as well.
Yeah, no, Craig Shakespeare is massive, and I think the debate with the Watford fans at the moment is whether we give Nigel Pearson a new contract. Obviously, he's done fantastic since he's come in, and Craig Shakespeare has been a massive part of that. I think when you look at Nigel, when we brought him in, I think a massive part of that was bringing Shakespeare in, because I'll be honest, I think he's good enough to be a manager on his own, let alone as an assistant. But in terms of Nigel Pearson, as James touched on, it was really important with the Watford players, and it's been reported quite widely that they wanted an English coach. They wanted an English core. And because, as James mentioned, the English core with that spine in particular, from Foster right up to Troy, it was important that we had an English voice in the dressing room. So I think with Pearson and Shakespeare coming in has been massive for us. They've made a big impact. And I think, as you mentioned, Shakespeare's been brilliant. I'd love to see those two be kept on, regardless of what division we're in next season.
Josh, I'm gonna ask the Watford guys in a minute about Troy Deeney, because, like, love him or hate him, personally, I've said before, I've said many times, I wish Leicester had signed Troy Deeney. We were just talking about it before we came on. That season, we won the Premier League, and we were looking for players. We signed Slimani. I'd have much rather signed Troy Deeney. Yeah. Josh, talk us through Troy Deeney.
Obviously, with what happened a few years ago, we won't mention that. But I think he'll be good. Go on. I think Troy Deeney will be good up front. Obviously, the season after we won the league, the Champions League, I think the players who bring in Slimani, Musa, a load of foreign players for a lot of money. Just like you said, for me, I would have liked to see Troy Deeney in Leicestershire. Obviously, he's a bit different than the modern striker. He's very different to Jamie Vardy, and I think he would have complemented him pretty well. And especially in the last 10 minutes or so, if you're losing to teams like Burnley at home and they're just sitting back, we could do with something like Troy Deeney. We can just get the ball in and see. Obviously, Vardy up front, we just don't have that option.
I think it was earlier this season when we played you guys at the King Power Stadium. I saw Troy Deeney go and take his training jacket off and give it to a Leicester fan in the ground. You know, I do think he is a bit of a fan's favourite. Guys, let's start with you, James. First of all, do you think is Troy Deeney going to play this weekend? I've had a few questions on that. Do you think he is or not?
Yeah, I think so. So he there was obviously the media controversy. Well, I wouldn't say controversy, but there was a lot of media reports. Obviously, about him not wanting to return to training because of the risk to BMAE players in catching the virus. So he's come back to training a week later, but I do think I do think he will start, because it's a big miss if we don't have him inside.
Yeah, and Jacob, I mean, how important is it, do you think, that Troy Deeney does play for you guys? I mean, from an outsider looking at Watford, it always feels like Troy Deeney's on form, you're doing well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think particularly this season with the system we play under, Nigel, with the 4-2-3-1, we need that focal point up front. And we're not blessed with options in that department. We've got the likes of Andre Gray, Danny Welbeck. But those two guys, they haven't really started for us. But Troy's been the main focal point for us, well, since he's been at Watford, really. So, yeah, it's massive that Troy plays. And particularly with the pacing behind, I think Danny Welbeck will probably start on the left-hand side, but also it's Miller Sarr that you've got to be careful of as well. Troy brings those two into play. So definitely, not only, again, what he brings on the pitch, but also off it as well. Troy's a massive part of this Watford team. And without your captain, you're always going to struggle. So I think it's absolutely important that he does start on Saturday.
Josh, I mean, there's quite a lot, like you say, of British English talent on both sides there. Maddison needs to get back to form. Well, not get back to form, but be on hot form, don't you think? He's obviously, you look at people like Will Smith, isn't it? Not Will Smith.
Will Hughes?
Will Hughes. Oh, imagine Will Smith. Will Hughes. You lot. Will Hughes. Will Smith. Lost it now. Yeah, Will Hughes. I remember watching him when Leicester played Derby a few years ago, thinking he's going to be a starlet. And Josh, Maddison, Hughes, there's going to be some interesting battles there.
Yeah, I think Maddison's been good this season. I think he hasn't been as good as last season. I think the battle in midfield is going to be very important. I think if Tielemans can get back to fitness, I think he'll be good. But it's a difficult one with James Maddison. I think sometimes this season he's dropped way too deep and I just can't link up play. Needs to be right behind Vardy, and then we can work off that.
I mean, Josh, you said Tielemans there. There's a lot of chat whether we'll even play Tielemans or if it be Dennis Pratt. Who would you be playing out of those two, or would you pick them both together?
I think I'll go with Tielemans just because of the break. I want to see how he plays. But if he plays poor, I'll probably see Dennis Pratt possibly coming off the bench, obviously with 5 subs. So I could see them both being used, but probably not at the same time.
So, James, I'm a big fan, obviously, of Will Smith or Will Hughes, whatever you guys want to call him.
Your Daniel Rashford moment.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, he has, obviously, he's been on the fringes of England at times. I do like him as a player, a young English talent. What's your views on him? Will Smith or Will Hughes, whichever one you want to talk about.
So he actually came out this week in an interview and said he really wanted to be called up to the England squad, and I think he definitely has the quality to be able to do that. And he always acts like a terrier in our midfield. He gets right at people when he's playing, and he's kind of dropped into a slightly deeper role than he normally would play under previous managers, and I think that suits him really, really well.
Yeah, and the same to you, Jacob.
Yeah, no, Will Hughes has been phenomenal actually since he's dropped into a deeper role. We saw performances against Liverpool, Manchester United. Sorry, I got a bit of a cough. Liverpool, Manchester United, Will Hughes was phenomenal for us in that deep role, as James mentioned. But I think he's good enough to get an England call-up. I think, actually, since Nigel's coming, we've seen the best of Will Hughes in a Watford shirt. Before, under Javi Gracia, he was playing on the right-hand side in a 4-4-2 formation. So it was kind of limiting what he could actually offer, but actually getting his boot in a lot more 50-50 tackles. We've seen a different side to Will Hughes' game. So, yeah, he's been fantastic for Watford this season.
Absolutely. I mean, look at last night's games. I don't know. Did you all watch some of last night's games, guys?
Yeah.
So much to talk about from them, which will affect obviously Leicester against coming down to Watford. What did we watch it with the sound on or the sound off? Let's start with you, Josh.
Sound off. I watched it with the sound off.
Jacob, so you had just the people shouting.
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? I think I actually put a tweet out saying the Bundesliga kind of mastered the fake noise. That didn't really work, I thought, with the Premier League. Isn't it the FIFA noise that's in the background? It just didn't really seem right to me. But yeah, it was okay. It wasn't too bad.
James, what did you watch? Sound on, sound off?
Yeah, I had it on. It was a bit strange. I think after a few games they'll kind of master it, but it was all right. It was all right.
Josh, they almost need like a DJ, like live mixing the sounds so that it's right. In the end, we were flicking between the two sounds, but we got to the point where, watching it with my lads, that we had to have the sound on, because if the sound was just the people shouting, it felt like you're watching a pre-season friendly, and I was too busy looking in the stands at nobody there. So put the sounds on and I could focus on the football. Josh, how were you with it?
Yeah, I had a sound on as well. I think the chants are a bit repetitive. Like in the Man City game, there were just 2 chants. I think it'd be good if they can add a few chants in. But I do like the way that when there's a shot, the crowd goes like, oh, like stuff like that. But I think they can master it a bit going forward. But I do like it.
Well, I actually thought the sound was better in the Man City game than in the Sheffield United game. But hey, listen, let's talk about that Sheffield United game, guys, because
Goodness
from
me.
a Leicester's point of view, Josh, I was certainly shouting for Sheffield United to win and win they should have done, Josh.
Yeah, 100%. I still can't get over that decision. It clearly went in. I don't know why VAR didn't intervene, but it's a difficult one, obviously, with the decision. I think it was a good game overall. Obviously, 0-0 in the end, but there's quite a few chances for both sides. But I think that decision I don't get it.
James, I mean, it has a big impact on you guys. I'm just looking at the table here. Villa are now on 26. You're on 27. If they'd have lost that, which they should have done, James, that would have had an impact on you.
Oh, absolutely. When I was watching it, I was when I saw that ball go over the line, I was like, oh my God, please just give the goal. But a draw was good enough. But I really wanted Sheffield United to win.
Yeah, Jacob as well. I guess were you in the same vein as James?
Yeah, I was. I think the main thing that I took away from it was if that point keeps Villa up, even the goal on goal difference as well. Just those fine margins. And when we look back at the end of the season, if that does cost Watford, from what perspective, that's what we're concerned about. If that does cost us, then of course we'll be absolutely fuming. But I think the big thing is no one really expected that for the first game back. You're thinking, okay, just get through it, smooth 90 minutes. And the one thing you didn't expect to happen is goal line technology not being turned on. It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was watching, really. And you can imagine Chris Wilder was livid, but at full time. I mean, I can't imagine if that was Leicester or Watford, we'd be fuming and we'd be talking about it for weeks.
Yeah, and again, there's plenty of incident in the Man City Arsenal game, obviously, with David Luiz entertaining us all. Josh,
Yeah.
I mean, crikey.
Yeah, very poor from David Luiz, to say the least. Yeah, I thought in the first 20 minutes or so Arsenal looked alright, but of course when he came on, shot, it was just 2 mistakes. The first one was bad enough, and then just to do that, poor from him.
Yeah, let's face it, if you're not picked to start, it's not a great place to be as a player. And then you come on, you do a lazy, can't get rid of it. Then you give away a penalty, get sent off and let them score the second goal. Don't think he'll be playing very much more for Arsenal. Let's go over to the Watford lads. I want you to both, who should we be looking out for in the Watford team? Who do you think could be a surprise or the player who does the most damage to Leicester City? Let's start with you, James, on who you would pick out from your Watford team.
Right. So the player you should be looking out for is Ismaila Sarr. You obviously all saw his performance against Liverpool. It was absolutely phenomenal. I think he'll be going against Chilwell. Is that right? So he'll be going against Chilwell on the left.
Yeah. Trust me, Chilwell's not in favour at Leicester at the moment, not with the fans.
No,
but carry on, James.
Yeah, so Ismaila Sarr, I honestly think another season he'll get a move to one of the big boys for upwards of 80, 70 million. It's just, I can't get over him, honestly. It's just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and Jacob?
Yeah, no, I echo that from James. I think Ismaila Sarr is the one player you look out for from Watford. As that Liverpool performance was absolutely unbelievable. He tore Van Dijk to shreds, really. But in terms of other players that maybe don't get a lot of the headlines, I think, as you mentioned, Will Hughes is another one to look out for. And I think actually our best midfielder is Etienne Capoue. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. He's consistently performing for Watford, even during this season where we've been struggling. He's been the one standout player for us, because Ismaila Sarr didn't actually start the season in the starting lineup. He came in as Pearson came in, and he's taken long to adapt. But I think Etienne Capoue, since he's been at Watford, has been absolutely fantastic. And I think that midfield two of Hughes, Capoue, and then Decore just in front is very solid. And I think those three are probably, that midfield battle between us, those three, and the likes of Tillemans is where the game's going to be won, I think.
Jason Mills says, Josh, this is going to come to you, about if Chilwell was dropped, Fuchs would have Sarr in his pocket. I'm still a big fan of Ben Chilwell, Josh. What are your views on him?
Yeah, obviously as a modern day fullback, I think he's got the qualities going forward. He's not the best defensively. I think all Leicester fans know that. But with Soonchu and Evans in defence, I think it's not too much of an issue. And with Ndidi in front of them too, I think it's not too much of an issue. I think last season he was very good in both departments. But obviously this season, I think attacking wise, he just hasn't gone. He's gone to positions, but just seems to be turning back, especially after Christmas as well.
And Josh, who do you think the Watford lads need to watch out for from Leicester?
Ooh, it's got to be Jamie Vardy up front. You all know what type of threat he has, especially with players like James Maddison. If he can perform, it's going to be difficult to stop Vardy in behind. I would say Harvey Barnes is a big threat out wide as well. He's been very good this season. So yeah, but the main threat is probably Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, Harvey Barnes' stats, Josh, are really good at the moment. And there is the likes of Perez and obviously Maddison who could do damage, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. I think Harvey Barnes has excelled this season. Obviously, he hasn't got much game time, but this season under Brendan Rodgers, he's done very well. So I look forward to see if Harvey Barnes can keep up this good form, and yeah, hopefully he can have a good game on Saturday.
Come on then, guys! It's time to do score predictions. Let's put our cards on the table here. Let's start with Jacob. Score prediction. What I want to know is who do you think is going to score the first goal and the correct final score? That's how we tend to do it.
Blimey, this is detailed, right? I think we'll go positively thinking from a Watford perspective. We'll go for a 1-1 draw. I think we'll score first, and I think it will be Sarri scores first, but I think Vardy will reply and get a point for Leicester.
So Jacob's going for 1-1. James, how about you?
Yeah, I think we'd all take a draw at Watford. Obviously, we'd like to win, but obviously you're in the Champions League places, so it's going to be a difficult game. I'm going to go with Danny Welbeck to score first, and Watford are going to win 2-1.
First of all, I'm going to say, Danny Welbeck, has he even played for you lot? I think he's gone missing, hasn't he? Come on, has he actually has he done anything for you?
He played once against Everton and come off after about 4 minutes.
He's just, has he scored in all seriousness, Jacob? Has he scored for you?
In the Carabao Cup.
He did.
Carabao Cup.
Yeah, he hasn't scored in the Premier League for Watford, but that's probably the one. That's actually an interesting point. That's probably the one position where it's not really decided for Watford because we've got Ignacio Paceto who can play on the wide as well. And with Deulofeu out, Pereira's been hot and cold this season, and he's got an injury, so it's going to be interesting who's going to be on that left-hand side. I'd probably start Danny Welbeck, but we're not blessed for options with that Deulofeu injury and Pereira out as well.
Ross Howard has put that Will Smith will score the first goal. Thanks, Ross, rubbing it in there. Josh, come on then, let's get your score prediction.
I'm going to go with a 2-1 to Leicester, just because we said that Danny Welbeck's so bad and he hasn't scored. I think he will actually score the first goal.
Now we've said it. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 to Leicester.
And who do you think is going to score first, Josh?
Danny Welbeck's going to.
Danny Welbeck. Two of you gone for Danny Welbeck. He's just never scored a Premier League goal for Watford. Barely turns up, and you both predict him. Listen, I think it's going to be Jamie Vardy. The bookies would tell you that's probably one of the best ones to go for. Oh, obviously Troy Deeney, but I'm going to go Jamie Vardy, and I'm going to go for a 3-1 Leicester win. If Leicester are on form, I think we should do it, but I don't think it's going to be easy. That's my fingers crossed result. Anyway, before we go, thanks for joining us. Jacob, talk us through, go on, give your plug to your Watford.
WD18, the mouthful. But so I run WD18, the Watford fan channel. You can find us on Twitter at WD18 fans and also on YouTube at WD18. We're just a Watford fan channel. Give Watford fans a platform to express their opinions, all the latest Watford news, everything's on there. So yeah, at WD18 fans and WD18 on YouTube.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, and thanks for joining us as well. Thanks, James, as well. Talk us through the Watford Way and what you guys try and do, and all your apps.
Thanks for having me on today. So the Watford Way, we try to connect Watford fans from all around the world. So since I started the Watford Way, I've been talking to people in Hong Kong, USA, France, Ireland. So we tried to get as many people from around the world to give their opinions. We started our YouTube channel last week, so you can find us on YouTube, and you can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Brilliant. Josh, you're going to be joining us on Saturday as well for a bit of the chit chat, aren't you?
Yeah, should be at full time, so yeah, should be good. Hopefully we can talk about Leicester getting the win.
And Josh, go on, plug your stuff as well. Sportser. Do the ads.
I'm a Leicester content creator. I do previews, reviews, and now with football, obviously behind closed doors. I'm going to be doing live watch-alongs. So yeah, you can find me at Sportser on YouTube, Sportser.yt on Instagram, and Sportser.yt on Twitter as well. So yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys. Thanks for a bit of a away fan chat. We'll see who scored predictions come right. I've written them down. There's only one I want to come right, and that's the 3-1 Leicester, but we'll see. Thanks for joining us.
Guys. Cheers, guys.
No problem. Thanks, Dinosaur.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys. Thanks for everybody who's been watching. Lots of predictions here coming in. Graham Moore is going for 2-1. I assume Leicester. Come on, Graham. You should know by now. We need a first goal scorer and a correct final score. Ivan, who's watching all the way out, I think, in Sierra Leone. Is that right, Ivan? If I've got my memory right. We are going to beat Watford and Bardi will score 3 goals. Ditto here. That's exactly what I say as well. Ross is saying, hope to see you're watching BT Sport because my mug's going to be on there. Well done, Ross. Yeah, Ross is going to be one of the fans in the stands or whatever they want to call it. Didn't think that worked particularly well last night, to be fair. They barely showed any of the fans at home that they got sorted, which was a bit of a shame. Anyway, my name's Phil. This is Leicester Fan TV. Don't forget, go and follow us at Leicester Fan TV on all the socials if you can. Thanks to the guys who help bring us all the content to you. Go and follow those. Keep liking and sharing and subscribing, and we'll see you tomorrow when we're going to do a tactics show and see who we think will be in the starting lineup for Leicester. Will it be Tielemans? Will it be Dennis Pratt? Will it be both of them? Will it be Chowdhury? Who knows? We want to pick the team with you tomorrow. So from me, Phil, Leicester Fan TV, see you tomorrow lunch.
Get on your feet. Don't sleep.